I accompanied my boyfriend Daniel as he struggled from a starting salary to a six-figure income, consistently bringing him lunch for 3 years, no matter the weather. However, an invitation made my colleagues whisper and snicker. The CEO is already married, she, the mistress, is still in the dark. I stormed into the office to confront him, but he was embracing his childhood sweetheart, telling me to be a secret lover for another year. I walked into the company, carrying the thoughtfully prepared lunch I'd made for Daniel. But the moment I stepped into the office area, I felt something was off. Everyone's eyes glued to me, only to quickly dart away when I looked back, leaving behind only a buzzing of whispers. On their desks lay a red invitation. On its gold-embossed cover, the groom's name was prominently displayed, Daniel. My gaze uncontrollably shifted to the bride's column. It wasn't me, Luna, but another name, Tiffany. My mind went blank with a sudden jolt. How could this be? Before we continue, please subscribe to this channel and let us know in the comments where you're tuning in from. Last week, I was still celebrating Daniel sealing another major deal. He'd had too much to drink and held me, saying that once this project was over, we'd buy a wedding apartment, the one with floor-to-ceiling windows I liked best. He said he wanted me to have a true home of our own in Sterling City. How could he be marrying someone else in the blink of an eye? Oh, do you think Miss is still in the dark? So pitiful. Pitiful? I heard Director and Miss are childhood sweethearts. She's the one who just appeared out of nowhere, isn't she? The employees' hushed discussions pierced my ears like needles. Daniel and I had been together for 3 years. I supported him from being a penniless clerk who had to pay rent in installments to becoming a project director with a 6-figure income today. To save money to buy him a nice watch, so he could appear more respectable in front of clients. I often skipped meals, starving myself until I got a severe stomach ulcer and ended up in the hospital. I gave my entire youth and love, only to end up being called a shameless mistress by others. A surge of anger flared up. Ignoring the gawking employees, I headed straight for the director's office at the end of the corridor. Pushing the door open, I saw Daniel and his childhood sweetheart, Tiffany, embracing. Tiffany had her face buried in Daniel's chest, their posture intimate, like a pair of lovers. My sudden entry startled them. Seeing it was me, Daniel immediately released Tiffany. Luna, what are you doing here? Pushed away, Tiffany's body softened, and she leaned back into Daniel's embrace, looking at me timidly. Seeing them like this, rage burned away my last shred of reason. I threw the red invitation, crumpled and deformed in my hand, hard at Daniel's face. Daniel, what does this mean? Facing my accusation, Daniel instinctively pulled Tiffany, who was hiding in his arms, closer. Luna, calm down first. It's not what you think. Not what I think. I laughed bitterly. Then what is it? Tell me, isn't it true that you're marrying another woman, and I, your legitimate girlfriend, am the last to know, making me a joke? He put on a helpless expression and took my hand. Grandma is critically ill. The doctor said she might not make it through the month. And her greatest wish in life is to see Tiffany find a good match she can entrust her life to. Tiffany and I are just having a fake marriage for her ailing grandmother. The one I truly love is you. After a year, I'll immediately divorce Tiffany. Then we'll get married right away, okay? Besides, privately, things will remain as they were. I'll still be your boyfriend. Listening to his words, I found them absurd and ridiculous, and disgustedly yanked my hand away from his. Fake marriage? An act? Daniel, are you treating me like I'm naive? We're legally married, and wedding invita tie-ins have been sent out. Now you're telling me it's all fake? You want me to be a secret lover in your marriage, to be a shameless mistress everyone reviles? Daniel, you really outdid yourself. Luna. My words seemed to sting him, and his face darkened. How could you say that? Can't you be more understanding and consider Tiffany's feelings? Tiffany, behind him, suddenly covered her face, her voice choked. Sister, don't blame Daniel, it's all my fault. If you're angry, scold me, hit me if you want, just don't be angry with Daniel. Seeing with tears streaming down her face, Daniel's heart immediately ached. He pulled Tiffany back into his embrace and began to comfort her softly. Watching their touching embrace, I felt a surge of nausea. Saying another word would only make me look like a pathetic fool humiliating myself. Fine, I understand. I nodded, then turned and left. Returning to our shared apartment, this house full of memories felt like a joke. I had intended to talk to Daniel properly when he came back, to give him, and our 3-year relationship, one last chance, but didn't return until dark. At 11 o'clock at night, he finally bothered to send me a message. Luna, I know you're still angry, but Eleanor's condition worsened again today, and I have to stay with her at the hospital. Go to bed early, don't overthink things. I looked at the message and smiled. I didn't reply, I just sent him 3 words, it's over. Then I dialed another number. The phone was quickly answered by Aunt's cheerful voice. Oh, what made our busy girl call me? I took a deep breath, using all my strength to keep my voice from trembling. Aunt, that wedding you said you'd arranged for me before, is it still on? There was a few seconds of silence on the other end, then Aunt's surprised voice rang out. Of course it is. What, did you break up with that guy, Daniel? I calmly replied with one word, yes. Aunt will arrange it for you right away. Whether it's family background, character, or appearance, your future husband will definitely be 1,000 times better than him. I guarantee he'll regret it intensely. After hanging up, I immediately packed my things and left that disgusting place without looking back. Daniel, Tiffany, I wish you, a scumbag and a manipulative woman, stuck together forever, so they won't harm anyone else. Daniel finally started to panic when he realized I had moved out and he couldn't reach me. But he clearly didn't grasp the seriousness of the situation, just thinking I was throwing a tantrum again. He started sending me messages from different numbers. Luna, have you made enough of a scene? Is this fun? I'm telling you, my patience is limited. You'd better get back here right now. Can't you be more sensible and think about the bigger picture? I told you Tiffany and I are just having a fake marriage, and it's only for a year. After a year, I'm still yours. I looked at these messages and found them ironic. I deleted and blocked all these messages and numbers. Tiffany wasn't idle either. She somehow found my private social media account, which I only used for daily posts, and started leaving passive-aggressive comments. Sometimes it was intimate photos of her and Daniel picking out a wedding dress, with the caption, "So hard to choose." Daniel says I look good in all of them. Sometimes it was a video of her feeding Grandma soup, with the caption, "Grandma had a great appetite today and drank a big bowl of soup. The doctor even said it was a miracle. So happy to see her looking better." The posts were full of flaunting. I knew Tiffany was mocking me, telling me that everything I had lost was now hers. I couldn't be bothered to deal with it, so I directly replied to her latest post about Daniel bought me a new handbag. I wish you a long and happy marriage. Please stop bothering me in the future. Then, I blocked her. The world was finally peaceful. Aunt's efficiency was astonishing. In less than days, she told me she had arranged a meeting with my fiancé, whom I had never met. Under Vivian's arrangement, my unseen fiancé and I were scheduled to meet at the club, Sterling City's most exclusive private club. It was said that the club was a place only frequented by the exclusive elite circles, with strict membership rules that prevented ordinary people from even touching the main gate. As I walked into the club's breathtakingly luxurious lobby, I unexpectedly ran into a group of people I never wanted to see again in my life. Daniel, Tiffany, and their parents. They were gathered around a spry old lady, chatting and laughing while discussing wedding details. That old lady, I presumed, was Grandma, whom Tiffany described as critically ill. Her face was flushed, and she said to a waiter with full of vigor, pointing at a menu, this, and this, no. My blood sugar is high, I can't have sweets. Finally, bring me a steamed red snapper. This was hardly someone on the brink of death. She looked like she could live 50 years longer than me. Daniel was the first to spot me. His face darkened, and he strode towards me. Luna, what are you doing here? Why aren't you answering my calls? Not replying to my messages? He demanded in a low, furious voice. Are you deliberately stalking us, trying to ruin my wedding? I'm telling you, don't even think about it. I looked at his smug face and calmly said, Mr. Gu, I think you might be mistaken. First, we've broken up, please show me some respect. Second, I'm not here for you, I'm here to meet my fiancé. Fiancé? Daniel scoffed as if he'd heard the funniest joke of the century. Luna, you'll make up any lie to spite me. Go back home quickly, don't make a fool of yourself here. Just then, a middle-aged man in a tuxedo walked towards me, bowing respectfully. Miss, hello. I am Mr. Vance's butler, you can call me Alfred. The young master is waiting for you upstairs, please follow me. Tiffany's eyes darted around Alfred. Then she covered her mouth and let out an exaggerated snicker. Oh, sister, is this your fiancé? What strange taste, finding an old man who could be your father. The relatives around her also whispered and chuckled. I couldn't be bothered with these pathetic clowns and said to Alfred, okay, please lead the way. Luna, stop right there. Daniel yelled behind me, a hint of panic in his voice that he himself hadn't noticed. I'm warning you, don't try to ruin my wedding, or you'll regret it. I didn't look back, following Alfred into the exclusive elevator. The elevator doors slowly closed, completely shutting out Daniel's distorted, enraged face and Tiffany's gloating smile. The elevator stopped at the top floor. Alfred pushed open the polished wooden door at the end of the corridor for me. "Miss, our young master has an urgent video conference to attend to temporarily. Please wait a moment in the private room." Alfred poured me a cup of hot tea and then quietly exited, thoughtfully closing the door behind him. Only then did I begin to examine the private room. It was less a private room and more a small courtyard. Elegantly traditional in its decor, it exuded understated luxury everywhere. Through the huge floor-to-ceiling windows, one could overlook the entire bustling night view of Sterling City. I later learned that this was the suite, the most exclusive private room in all of the club. I sat on the soft sofa, feeling a little uneasy. Aunt had only said the other party was a prominent figure in Sterling City's elite, from an influential family, and of impeccable character, but refused to reveal who exactly it was, saying I'd know when I met him. About 10 minutes later, the private room door opened again. A tall, upright figure walked in, silhouetted against the brilliant lights outside the window. His figure was somewhat blurred by the light and shadows, but I could still feel his undeniable, powerful presence. But as he approached, when the face that often appeared on finance magazine covers was exposed in the light, I froze completely. The priceless premium black tea in my hand almost slipped. Isn't this? The man who entered was Ethan. This name I was all too familiar with. He was hailed as Sterling City's business prodigy of the last decade, the head of Vance, and the legendary The Heir. I was completely stiff, my mind blank, only able to stare foolishly as he walked towards me. My heart churned with turmoil, and I furiously cursed my unreliable aunt. This joke was too much. This wasn't finding me a husband, this was dropping a bombshell on me. How could a man like Ethan be my fiancé? Would he even be interested in me? I awkwardly stood up, trying to break the uncomfortable silence with a nervous laugh. Mr. Vance, hello. I think there might be some misunderstanding here. You must have been forced to come by your family, right? How about we both just call it a meal, then go back and tell our families we're incompatible, and that's that. Ethan didn't speak, he just took his long strides towards me. He sat down opposite me, carrying a faint scent of cedar. His deep eyes were fixed on me. His gaze made my scalp tingle, and I felt even more uncertain. Surely this big shot wouldn't think I was trying to fool him, then use his power to make me disappear from Sterling City by tomorrow, would he? Just as I was overthinking, even planning my escape route from Sterling City in my mind, he finally spoke. I wasn't forced. I suddenly looked up, meeting his serious eyes. I genuinely want to marry you. There was no hint of a joke in those eyes, only a profound emotion I couldn't decipher. And, he paused. I've liked you for a long time. I was completely stunned. Too shocked to speak for a long time. Liked me for a long time? How could that be? We were clearly meeting for the first time today. Mr. Vance, have you mistaken me for someone else? I blurted out, as it was the only logical explanation I could think of. He looked at my dumbfounded expression, and the corner of his mouth curved slightly, so fast it felt like my imagination. Luna, 24 years old. Loves spicy food, especially Sichuan and Hunan cuisine. Absolutely loves spicy food. Likes to paint, dreams of opening her own art gallery. Has a ragdoll cat named Machi, which you rescued from the street 3 years ago. He recited all my information accurately, even more clearly than I remembered it myself. When you were little, you lived on Willow Lane in the south of the city. A sickly boy, whom you called Ethan, moved in next door. You protected him like an older sister every day, not letting anyone bully him. You even took out all your saved pocket money to buy him sweet rice cakes made by Mrs. Gable at the alley entrance because he said he liked sweets. Once, he fell ill with a high fever in the middle of the night, and no adults were home. You carried him on your back, running 3 blocks to find an urgent clinic. As he described, some scenes long buried in my memory gradually became clear. The frail boy who always followed me, shyly called me sister. My childhood friend whom I thought I would never see again. My eyes widened in disbelief, and I tentatively called out, Ethan? Ethan nodded, yes, I'm back, sister. In that instant, all sense of unfamiliarity and distance vanished. The man before me was no longer the high and mighty The Heir, but the clingy, adorable little brother from my memories whom I needed to protect. That night, we talked a lot. About why he suddenly moved away back then, about his experiences after leaving, and about my life these past years. I learned that his family had internal corporate issues at the time, and to protect him, they temporarily sent him to distant relatives on Willow Lane. Later, when things were resolved, they immediately returned to Sterling City. All these years, he had been looking for me. When he finally found me, he discovered I was authorized with Daniel. He didn't disturb me, but had been silently watching over me from the background. "I've been waiting for you." He looked at me, his gaze focused and deep with affection. "Waiting for you to let go of that unworthy person, waiting for you to turn and see me." My heart was fiercely struck at that moment. It turned out that in a corner I didn't know about, someone had always been loving me. That night, perhaps it was the alcohol, or perhaps I was enchanted by the deep affection in his eyes. When he softly asked me, "Sister, my apartment is nearby, would you like to move in?" I inexplicably nodded. When I was vaguely led by the hand by him, standing in his top-floor duplex apartment overlooking the entire night view of Sterling City, I belatedly realized I was moving in with a man I had just reconnected with less than 3 hours ago. Ethan embraced me from behind, his chin gently resting on my shoulder, his warm breath on my ear sending a subtle shiver through me. "Luna." His voice was deep and husky. "From today on, this is your home. From now on, I won't let anyone bully you again." The apartment door gently clicked shut behind me. It was as if it closed off my disgraceful past, opening a brand new future belonging to just him and me. I thought Ethan's kindness towards me was mostly out of nostalgia for his childhood and a sense of responsibility. But after actually living with him, I realized how wrong I was. This heir, rumored to be ruthless and notoriously aloof, was a completely different person at home. I casually mentioned once that I liked the famous local fried dumplings downstairs, and the next morning, the master chef from that shop would be invited to our home, just to make breakfast for me. He knew I was a restless sleeper and always kicked off the covers, so every night he would quietly enter the room after I fell asleep and tuck them around me. When I was on my period, he would clumsily follow online tutorials to make me ginger and brown sugar tea and rub my stomach. He remembered all my preferences and habits. He meticulously spoiled me into his spoiled darling. Under his daily onslaught of tenderness, I began to see this marriage not as a refuge from the past, but truly started to anticipate it, anticipating becoming his wife, anticipating our shared future. Today, we had planned to go to the jewelry store together to choose wedding rings. Halfway there, Ethan received an urgent conference call. He looked at me apologetically. "Luna, I'm sorry, I might be a little late. Go in and pick out what you like best. Don't worry about the price." "Okay." I smiled and agreed, leaning in to kiss his cheek. "Go on, work is important, I'll wait for you." The tenderness in his eyes almost overflowed. He ruffled my hair, then reluctantly let the driver take me first. However, I never expected what a small world it would be. The moment I stepped into the jewelry store, I saw the two people I least wanted to see, Daniel and Tiffany. They were intimately leaning against each other, asking the sales associate about something. Tiffany spotted me first. She scrutinized me, and seeing I was alone, her mockery was undisguised. "Oh, isn't this sister? Buying a ring alone," she said, passive-aggressively. "What, your old man fiancé didn't come with you?" "Well, he's old, maybe his legs aren't good, I understand." Daniel also saw me, his brows immediately furrowed, looking at me impatiently. "Luna, you're always showing up. I already warned you, stop following me, stop trying to ruin my wedding. How can a woman like you be so despicable?" I didn't even bother to glance at them, walking directly to another counter and giving the approaching sales assistant a polite smile. "Hello, I have an appointment, last name Lynn. Miss, please follow me. We have already prepared the latest wedding rings for you." I ignored the two stares behind me that felt like they could pierce holes in me, focusing on choosing the rings. I was DRAWN to a pair of wedding rings named Starlight. The women's ring design was unique, small diamonds encircled a clear main diamond like a galaxy, understated yet brilliant. "May I try it on?" "Of course, Mississippi." The sales assistant put on white gloves and carefully took the ring from a velvet tray. The moment I put the ring on, a sharp voice rang out. "I want that ring too." The sales assistant looked distressed. "Miss, I'm very sorry. This ring is the chief designer's final masterpiece, a unique pair worldwide. And, Miss saw it first." "I don't care." Tiffany rudely interrupted the sales assistant. She hugged Daniel's arm and started to whine playfully. "Daniel, I want this pair. Look how beautiful it is. Only I deserve such a gorgeous ring." Daniel walked over. He looked at the ring on my hand, then at Tiffany's eager eyes, and made his choice without hesitation. He grabbed my hand and roughly pulled the ring off my finger, then placed it on Tiffany's hand. "It's beautiful, sweetheart, this ring was born to be yours," he said softly to Tiffany, his voice so sickeningly sweet it gave me goosebumps. Then, he pulled a black card from his wallet and slammed it onto the counter with an arrogant flourish. "I'm a diamond member here. I said we want this ring. Serve us immediately." The sales assistant's face went pale. She looked at me pleadingly, apologizing profusely. Looking at the man before me, I felt utterly absurd. My last shred of lingering attachment to the past vanished completely as the ring changed hands. "Wife, how are the rings coming along?" I turned around and stepped into a firm, warm embrace. Ethan was wearing only a white shirt, sleeves casually rolled up, looking noble and radiating an intimidating aura that kept others at bay. Daniel and Tiffany's faces instantly became a sight to behold. I pointed to the ring on Tiffany's hand, my voice sounding wronged. "I liked one, but someone took it." Ethan's gaze landed on Tiffany's hand, and his eyes instantly turned cold. He took out his phone and dialed a number. "Manager, I don't care if you're in a meeting or flying in the sky. Be at your store within 3 minutes." Less than 2 minutes later, a balding middle-aged man rushed in, covered in sweat. "Mr. Vance, why didn't you notify us in advance of your visit? We failed to greet you properly." Manager was bowing profusely, cold sweat trickling down his shiny forehead. Ethan pointed at Daniel and Tiffany, who were still flaunting the ring, his voice indifferent. "From today on, permanently ban these two from all properties under Vance. Oh, and," he glanced at the black card, "permanently revoke his membership." Tiffany was stunned. She still didn't know who she had provoked, and shrieked, "Who do you think you are, saying such things? Do you know who my man is?" "This mall." She was cut off by Daniel, who yanked her arm. I saw Daniel's face turn ashen. He recognized him. Ethan. The heir, whom everyone in Sterling City's elite showed respect to, the head of Vance. And this mall was one of Vance's properties. Who in all of Sterling City would dare to cross him? Daniel was nothing more than an ant in front of him. Daniel's gaze flickered between our clasped hands and Ethan's doting eyes. He finally believed it. Everything I had said was true. I was really getting married. "Security," Ethan said calmly. 2 tall security guards immediately rushed in, each taking an arm of Daniel and Tiffany and unceremoniously dragging them out. Daniel completely broke down, pleaded incoherently. "Mr. Vance. Mr. Vance. I was wrong. Luna, don't you still love me? Please help me, make Mr. Vance take back his words." And was still screaming. "Let me go. Do you know who I am? Daniel, tell them to let me go." Ethan seemed not to hear, not even sparing them a glance. He took my hand, gently placed the ring on my finger, and pressed a reverent kiss on the back of my hand. "Beautiful." He looked at me, the starlight in his eyes more brilliant than the diamonds on the ring. "My Vance, everything you wear looks beautiful." After the incident at the mall, Daniel finally realized that I wasn't just throwing a tantrum, but was genuinely going to marry Ethan. He completely panicked. He started trying every possible way to contact me. When blocked, he'd switch numbers to call. If I didn't answer calls, he'd send texts. He even showed up at the estate, blocking the entrance and constantly sending large bouquets of roses and expensive gifts. All those things were returned by Alfred, the butler, untouched. Along with him, he was escorted back by the security. My jealous darling, for his part, was quite annoyed by all of this. That night, he pinned me to the bed, kissing me with playful intensity while pouting playfully, complaining, "You're not allowed to see him again. You're not allowed to accept anything from him. You're not allowed to think about him. You're only mine." Then he would proceed to playfully tease me in various ways. He wouldn't stop until I pleaded with tears and repeatedly assured him that he was the only one in my heart. Days passed in such sweet playful antics. Our wedding was intentionally scheduled for the same day as Daniel's. From the wedding dress design to the venue setup, from the guest list to the ceremony flow, Ethan was personally involved in every detail, striving for perfection. Not only that, but this Mr. Vance, now deeply in love, completely changed his usual low-key demeanor. He became a complete flaunter of his wife. His social media account, which had been dormant for ages, became his main battleground for flaunting his affection. Today, he'd post a candid photo of my profile while I was sleeping, with the caption, "My world." Tomorrow, he'd post a homemade breakfast he personally prepared for me, with the caption, "Feeding my darling." On the eve of the wedding, he even posted a picture of our hands tightly clasped, wearing our wedding rings, with the caption, "For two." Made to have found true love in this life. Suddenly, the entire internet exploded. The hashtag the Vance Heir wedding bells quickly topped the trending charts. Daniel naturally saw all of this. I heard that when he saw the wedding ring photo, he was so angry that he smashed his phone. Even when Tiffany called him to go to the wedding rehearsal, he ignored her. He just stared at the tightly clasped hands on the screen, gritting his teeth. His eyes were bloodshot. Ethan's and my wedding took place as scheduled at the old chapel on the outskirts of Sterling City. I wore the wedding dress that Ethan had personally helped design, walked arm in arm with him, stepping on rose petals scattered everywhere, making my way to the altar. Inside the chapel, sacred and solemn music echoed. I looked at the man beside me. The tenderness and love in his eyes almost drowned me. My heart was filled with an unprecedented happiness. The priest's solemn voice began. "Mr. Ethan, do you take this woman, Miss Lynn, to be your lawfully wedded wife, to have and to hold, from this day forward, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health, to love and to cherish, till death do you part?" Ethan turned, looked deeply into my eyes, and solemnly said, "I do." "Miss Lynn, do you take?" Just as I was about to say those 3 words, the chapel's heavy wooden doors suddenly burst open from outside with a bang. Daniel rushed in, disheveled. He ignored the astonished stares of all the guests and charged straight towards me, pleaded incoherently, "Luna, don't marry him. I was wrong. I was really wrong. I won't marry Tiffany, we won't get married. Please give me another chance, okay? Let's start over. Please, Luna." He was like a madman, trying to break through the security guard's obstruction to take me away. Ethan's face instantly darkened. He gave a look, and several waiting bodyguards immediately stepped forward and dragged Daniel out of the chapel. From beginning to end, I didn't spare Daniel a glance. In my eyes, there was only the man before me. I squeezed Ethan's slightly cool hand and told him my choice. "I do." I said my willing vow loudly to the priest. A small interruption did not affect the wedding's progress. Amidst everyone's blessings, we exchanged wedding rings. He lifted my veil, leaned down, and gave me a deep, lingering kiss. Outside the chapel, Daniel's desperate screams as he was dragged away could be heard. I heard that after Daniel's family found him, he was escorted back directly to his wedding with Tiffany. Under pressure from both sets of parents and the guests, he was forced to complete the wedding he had once so eagerly anticipated. Ethan's and my married life was peaceful and happy. In contrast, Daniel's and Tiffany's marriage completely devolved into a farce. Daniel was filled with regret. He blamed all his misfortunes on Tiffany, believing she had ruined everything for him. He started to stay out all night, frequented bars and clubs, using alcohol and reckless behavior to numb himself. His unrequited longing for me turned into revenge and torment directed at Tiffany, as he serially cheated on her. Their marriage existed in name only from the very beginning. Finally, after a drunk driving incident, Daniel's car was in a head-on collision with a semi-truck on the highway. Although he survived, he became a vegetative state. He could only lie in bed, kept alive by various medical equipment, and quickly divorced Daniel after he became a vegetative state. She inherited a substantial fortune from the Vance family, then turned around and married a wealthy elderly businessman. Soon after, I became pregnant. Ethan was even more nervous than I was, transforming into a truly devoted husband, caring for me meticulously. He wouldn't let me do any strenuous tasks. Every night, he would lean against my belly and whispered to the baby. Looking at his gentle profile, I often wondered what my life would have been like if I hadn't met him. But fortunately, there was no if only. Daniel and Tiffany. Those people and events that once caused me such pain had completely faded from my world, becoming irrelevant. Outside the window, the sun was just right, the breeze gentle. Ethan embraced me from behind, resting his chin softly on my shoulder. "What are you thinking about?" I smiled, turned my head, and kissed his lips. "I'm thinking how much I love you. Fortunate to have found you, my spring." Thank you for watching today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and share it with your friends. We look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments. Feel free to share your perspectives, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting stories. See you next time.